Hey guys, welcome to Chaos Unfiltered. I'm your host, Abby, and today we are going to be talking about settling. I think after we've talked about green flags, red flags, I've talked about breakups, I've talked about a lot of relationship stuff, right? I think the next step is to talk about settling. And you're probably like, what? I would never. But I feel like a lot of people do settle when they get like later, older, stuff like that. Like, I don't know, like oh no, we'll get into it, right? So settling's what we're going to be talking about today. So I want to start off with saying I don't think anyone like purposely tries to settle, right? I mean, I guess maybe someone does. I would never say never, right? Like if the thought goes in your head, I feel like definitely someone has also had that thought and also done it. Like that's just how my thought process works. It's like if you think it, it's definitely happened at least sometime, somewhere in this whole universe, right? But settling, like I think sometimes when you're younger, even when you're older, like people almost settle. Like I've been there. I have definitely been there before where I have settled in a relationship and settled for the person because my life wasn't where where I thought it was supposed to be at that time, right? So a little backstory with me is like my parents have been together for a really long time. They've been together since eighth grade. So and it's like super sweet, right? Like I don't tell a lot of people about my home life because at the same time it's almost like bragging because it is very rare to have two parents still together, happily married, all of that shit. Uh, but when I was growing up, like that's kind of like what I thought the expectation in life was is that like you meet your person very early on in life. You meet maybe them in eighth grade, right? Thank God I didn't marry the man I thought was the love of my life in eighth grade. I didn't know what love was then, let's be honest. But because of like how I grew up, and I felt like I needed to find my person very early on. So when eighth grade rolled around, didn't find my person, right? Because how many motherfuckers really find their person in eighth grade? Okay, I'm happy for my parents, don't get me wrong, but that's just not reasonable, especially in today's world with technology, all of that. That's extremely hard. And I think technology has its benefits and its setbacks, right? Like technology helps us talk to more people, it helps us network, shit like that. But because of that, it almost makes some people feel when you are in the dating world, stuff like that, that like there's always that next best thing. There's always that perfect person, shit like that, right? And that's what I want to say too is that like you're not settling if it's just that person isn't 100% everything you want them to be. I definitely don't think there's that person that's going to check every single box. I think a relationship is worth compromise. It's loving that person enough to see past their flaws to still want to be with them, all of that. So I don't think if the person doesn't check all your boxes that you're settling. For me though, then, and I've talked about my relationships before, it's like my big first relationship, like I was definitely settling there, right? Like I let him move in, we did all of this stuff. Like I was basically his mother is what it felt like in my perspective, stuff like that. And I was settling because I thought I needed to be somewhere in my life. I'm a very like I plan ahead. I'm very type A, which is great, but it also sets me back sometimes because I'm like, oh, I want to have a kid by 22, right? I want to be married by 21, shit like that. And when I was in my first big relationship, like I was already past that. And so I felt like I was already behind. And I've gotten a lot better with like that's not how life is set up, right? Like you have this expectation of life. You have this perfect scenario, that white picket fence that you want. That white picket fence is not I'm not gonna say it's never achievable, But that's extremely hard, and I think, honestly, if you did get that to be achievable, you're not gonna be happy at the same time, right? So I had to, like, really look at myself and, like, realize, like, what am I doing, right? I remember being on the phone with my mom driving home from babysitting, right? And I'm like, if this man asked dad for, like, to marry me, what would he say? And my mom's like, if you have to ask this question to me, you already know the answer. And I was like, fuck. She's so right. Like, I did know the answer. I knew my dad would say no. That man was a piece of shit. And I knew he was a piece of shit. But I was settling in letting all of this happen and all of the bad things happen to me in that relationship because I thought I was behind, because I thought that this was my person because of how old I was, and that I don't know, like, when I think about it and I look back on it, like, it sounds stupid, guys. Like, how did I ever think he was my person? I think settling happens a lot when you're younger because you think your timeline is getting off track, right? You're not where you want to be at this certain age. And yeah, it sucks when that timeline is not what you thought it would be, right? Like, if my timeline was right, I would probably have like 2 or 3 kids right now. Now, I'm happy I don't have 2 and 3 kids right now, because I would have lost out on a lot of other experiences that I've gained because my timeline didn't work out. Probably wouldn't have the friendships I have. I don't even think I would have the career I have, to be honest. Especially because if I was on that timeline, I would still be with someone that I would not be happy with. Or I would already be divorced, because I could see that too. So in that relationship, I settled. I settled for less than the fucking bare minimum, just because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And that's why I'm sitting here and being like, no, don't settle. Don't put up with shit you know you shouldn't put up with just because they make you a little bit happy, right? That's great. Everybody can make you a little bit happy. Who's the person that makes you laugh? Who's the person you can be the goofiest with? Who's the person that, like, when you really need something, they're always going to be there for you? Or that person that, like, you can tell everything to. You can be 100% yourself around, because that's the person. It doesn't matter in that scenario. Like, maybe they don't check all the boxes. Maybe it's not that white picket fence, right? Maybe there's some holes in that fence because everyone has a fucking past. That's okay. Because something I've looked at too is like, my life is probably not that white picket fence, right? Like, I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone has had a past that has changed them in some way. Like, if you could pick someone that checked all your boxes, ultimately I just feel like, yeah, they check all your boxes, but you still wouldn't be happy. Because if you can get to that point, you're like, oh, I can get more, I can get more, I can get more. And that's great. Like, if you think you deserve better, go get it. 100%. But this is about settling, right? So the big thing is like, not being like, oh, he has some other qualities, but he treats me like shit. He talks down to me, and this, that, and the third, right? That's settling. Those are like those non-negotiables that I've talked about the last few podcasts, of just like, there are some things that are okay, and there are some things that just are not okay. You're not settling if you look back and you're like, wow, I'm really happy this person makes me great. I can see a future with this person. I can see my family hanging out with this person all the time. I can see just life with this person, right? You're settling when you have to keep pondering, like, is this right? Is this person the one for me? Is my family going to accept them? Am I going to be happy forever? Right? That's when you're settling, especially if you keep having those thoughts. I feel like those thoughts are very accepted at the beginning, right? Because it is a lot of what ifs. Like, you just met this person, you don't know them that much. Like, there are a lot of what ifs. There's things that are going to pop up that you just don't know. You might not have had your first like big fight or big like talk, shit like that. So, like, you really don't know. And I feel like you really don't know until you have one of those like fights, talks. Like, I don't know. I also feel like if you maybe not even have a huge fight, but you have like a talk about the problem, stuff like that. Like, I feel like that really shows too. And look, I am a big lover girl at heart. I love love. Like, I'm big on relationships. I'm not a person that likes to mess around, all of that shit. Like, I know my priorities, all of that. And that's why I'm also sitting here, like, telling anyone who's listening not to settle, right? Because for a person that is big on relationships, big on wanting to get married, have kids, shit like that, I feel like more and more prominent to settle because we want those things in life. And like, as a woman, we all have that time clock, right? Like, we're not a man. We can't have kids when we're 60. Well, I know some women do, but like, there are health problems with that. So when you do get older, you're like, oh, I need to find this person, all of that. But that's when you also have to think about that everybody's life looks different. Even though it's not working out the way you want it, I 100% believe it will work out exactly how it should. I also think settling is huge for people who struggle with like not being in relationships. A lot of people then they will struggle and settle for the bare minimum, even though they know they deserve more because they don't want to not be in a relationship. And to those people, because I know there's probably some listening, right? I just want you to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, be comfortable with being alone, and realize just because it's not this one doesn't mean it won't be the next. Also, doesn't mean it will be the next. That's another important thing. But there are how many fucking people in this world? We have all this technology that you can talk to people across countries, you can talk to people miles away, you can keep in touch with anybody so easily. It's all in your hand. And you're gonna tell me you're gonna settle for a piece of shit, someone who doesn't give you the time of the day, someone who doesn't fucking prioritize you, someone who just uses you to their convenience? No, that's not okay. Don't let someone do that. And that's why I'm saying don't fucking settle. You will find someone unexpectedly, maybe expectedly, right? And you're like, wow, like this is what I've been missing. This has always been what I needed. And when you find that, don't let them go. Don't let them go easy, right? There's going to be hard times. There's probably going to be people in your ear telling you, leave them, you deserve better, they're not the right one, all of that shit. Don't listen to those people. Now, I do think if everybody is telling you, hey, like, look at how this person's treating you, this, that, like you're settling all of that, maybe listen then, right? But ultimately, it's your life, so you can do what you want. But if there's just a few, like, haters, friends, but in that scenario, like haters, like, oh, you deserve better, you, all of this, like, no. Because there are people that are going to support you. And if there are people that are supporting you and those people matter maybe more or there's more supporting you, listen to them. And like also trust yourself, right? Trust that gut instinct, trust your heart, follow your heart. Because it really doesn't matter what anybody else is thinking. If you're happy, Go be happy. Now, it is easier when your friends support you and all of that because you want them to be around your significant other. You want them to like your significant other, all of that shit. But I'm also telling you, I've been there before where I'm like, hey, like, I don't know, like maybe you should keep exploring. Maybe you should keep talking to the other guy. Maybe you shouldn't move too quickly, right? I've been that person. And I mean, I've apologized, all of that shit too. But now looking at them like they're happy, she's happy, and that's all that matters. And I will support her through that. And like, that's one thing. It might be tough to hear your friends say that. And then they're really your friends if later on you're still together and they're like, no, I was wrong. And they don't stop being your friend, shit like that. They don't never talk to your significant other. Like, they give them the chance because they see that you are happy and they're willing to give them the chance. Like, that's what I did. I'm going to be honest. And I wasn't sure at first, but then I saw them together. I got to know him more and I was like, oh, like this makes sense. It maybe didn't make sense when I just had my friend talking about it. But when I saw all of it, I was like, oh no, it makes sense. And I also think just in today's world, like all you want is your friends to support you in whatever decision you make. And that's something I really tell my friends now is like, hey, I love you. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel, but I will support you no matter what. And I'm not going anywhere, right? Like, this world is tough. Relationships are fucking hard. So if I can give you some peace of mind as a friend, I'm going to do that for you. I feel like I just got off on a huge tangent, but it kind of all makes sense, right? Like, don't settle. Don't expect less than what you deserve. And I think that's really big is like that respect comes the top of the priority is like if you're lowering yourself, if you are dimming your brightness for this person, you are settling, don't settle for them. If you're in a relationship and again, they're not checking all the boxes, but you don't feel like you're settling, right? You're like, no, I'm really happy. Like, I couldn't see myself without this person. They treat me great, all of this shit. That's not settling. That's just realizing that no person is fucking perfect. And that's okay. And this doesn't even just have to be about relationship, guys. You also shouldn't settle in friendships. If you have friends that just don't support you in basically all you do, don't settle on their friendships. I know making friends as an adult is hard, trust me. In my field, especially because I'm like a supervisor, basically, I can't really make that many friends because I can't be friends with the people I supervise, shit like that. And it's like, that's a little hard, right? And the other people, it's like, I could be friends with them, but they're also in different stages of life at the same time. So I don't know. But I mean, I recently made a friend that I just hung out with another friend. We went to a bar one night and now we're like best friends. You can still make friends. And you know what? Those other friends might support you a lot fucking more. Just because you've been friends with someone for so long doesn't mean anything. Or maybe it just doesn't mean that they are your best friend anymore. Maybe they just don't get all of your life. Still good to check in, still good to hang out occasionally, but maybe they don't get every piece of you like they did. Don't settle in your friendships. Don't settle in your relationships. Anything like that. Don't settle on life. Don't get a house or settle on an apartment just because you're like, oh, I really want a house, so I'm going to settle. No, work for what you want, get what you want, and realize how fucking happy you can be because you can do anything you set your mind to. Okay, maybe not anything. Maybe you can't build a spaceship and, go to the moon. But under reasonable circumstances, you can do quite fucking lot. But this is mostly about relationships because I feel like that's where I can talk the most about. That's where I do have a lot of experience from. And I always feel like getting other people's opinions on like how to handle relationships, stuff like that is like very interesting to me, and I have a feeling like other people feel that. And I feel like also sometimes just hearing someone that like maybe isn't your friend, right? You're just listening to someone else telling you this shit. You're like, oh shit. Like even the outsider who knows nothing about me is saying this. Like, fuck, maybe that's a sign. I don't really believe in signs. I don't really believe in coincidences, but maybe you do, right? So, guys, this is me simply saying do not settle on your relationship. There is someone out there that is going to be your person, that is going to maybe not check every box, right? But you're gonna, I feel like you're gonna know when it's your person. You're gonna, how you are around them is gonna change. How you act around them, how you talk around them, when you're not around them, like how you feel without them, shit like that. Like, I feel like that's when you know you have your person, but also there's a fine line of like, that's my person. And it's almost like, or it's like an obsession, like, or like love bombing, right? So you also have to be aware of those things. That would get me a way off tangent if I start talking about that shit. But again, if you get anything from this episode, right, do not settle on a person just because your timeline is not working out how you're supposed to. I talk to myself so much about that because that is so hard for me sometimes. But here I am, 4, 5 years later than what I thought I was supposed to be, and I'm okay. Like my timeline is not what I thought it was gonna be, but that's fine. Do I still have a timeline? Yes, of course I do. But do I understand that timeline can change? Yes. And do I understand that it's worth waiting rather than settling for a person who doesn't deserve me? 110 fucking percent. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I hope you tune into the next one.